We're back. The best of food and wine with Anthony Gismondi and Kasey Wilson, live from the Wines of Canada stage at the 2017 Vancouver International Wine Festival. Now, here's Tony and Kasey.
Welcome back to the Best of Food and Wine. I'm Tony Gismondi.
I'm Kasey Wilson.
It's a packed night here at the festival, as always, and joining us now from the theme country, Canada. There are over 66 wineries, I think, here. One of the stars of the Okanagan, Culmina, joining us, Don and Sara Triggs. Welcome to the show.
Lovely to be here.
Father, daughter.
Thanks for having us.
Where's Mom? Running the booth?
Mom is actually orienting our pruning team today.
Oh, wow.
She got the short straw.
So did she miss the wonderful dinner last night?
Yes, she did. Yes.
Oh, and I hear it was at Ancora, and you were very impressed.
Yes. And she tells me I owe her big time.
Yes, you do.
A big time.
I bet if she's out pruning, you owe... It's really big, Don.
Yeah,
you might not want to go back. Welcome to the show. Things are proceeding. How many years are we now?
Bought the land.
Culmina. This is the.
Started looking in 06. Bought the land in 07. Planted first vines in 09.
Didn't like those, or liked some of them, not all of them.
Not all of them.
Yeah.
And made our first wine in 11.
Yeah.
Released our first wine in 13.
Yeah. We're going to talk about a couple wines that were totally in the plan from the start. You've done some new things, too, that are maybe weren't in the plan, or maybe they were. I don't know if I knew what the plan was. But you've been releasing some individual varietal wines, too. And so you're having fun on the site, it sounds like.
Yeah, and I think the more we work on the site, the more we discover the site and what it is and what it isn't.
Yeah.
We really believe that the real future potential of the Okanagan is finding out what works best and finding out how to make the wine from that site.
Yep.
And part of our single varietal program that we're releasing, it's about exploring the nuances of the single varietals on their own on the Golden Mile Bench.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, we will always believe the symphony of flavors from the blend will be the most interesting, because you bring together all the components. But it's also interesting to understand each individual site and maybe make some of those wines differently, too.
We chatted earlier today with Jack Meyer. He brought a Chardonnay from Okanagan Falls. You brought a Chardonnay from the Golden Mile Bench, a sub-appellation, or not.
In fact, Okanagan Valley.
Valley.
Our Margaret's Bench is actually
above
the Golden Mile Bench border.
But it's kind of in the Golden Mile Bench area, I know. For people who are looking for it.
Yes.
All right, let me say, you brought a Chardonnay from the west side of the valley.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah. So what would the difference be in a west side Chardonnay in your mind versus, say, an east side?
Well, you get the morning sun.
Yeah.
We're at an elevated elevation. We have the same glacial fluvial fan soils, but we're at a much higher elevation. Degree days more like the Burgundy than like Bordeaux.
Okay.
And I guess the exciting thing is that the minerality of that side of the valley expresses in the wine. We're quite excited about that.
We've been talking about minerality. I don't know, Sarah, can you explain minerality at all, or how would you interpret it in terms of...
Oh, goodness, what a loaded question.
Well, I don't think it's loaded. Like, I've heard people talk about electricity. I hear people talk about stones. I hear all kinds of things.
Well, for us, I think what we were excited about with... In fact, in looking at the mineral content of the soil itself from this glacial fluvial fan soil, we're hoping that some of that terroir is expressing itself in the wines. And of course, that's really for all of for our audience to really, really understand and enjoy. But for us, it was really important as a key feature to look for those diverse soils that we have, those rocky soils, when we were looking for sites in the South Okanagan. For us, I think in terms of where this site is, it became very, very apparent how different just the site selection was, even in terms of our own winery bench versus our high altitude bench.
Right.
Just 200 meters higher in elevation, but because of the different aspect and elevation, we're seeing wildly different characteristics of growing on the site.
And what does the morning sun bring to a wine?
It warms up the vineyard earlier, so the vines get a really good start to the day.
Without baking them.
Yeah, and when you're in a valley with mountains on each side, if you're on the east side of the valley, you wait until 10 o'clock before you get any sun.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
But the west side gets that sun when it first peaks over.
And then you avoid the hottest sun at the end of the day, which is nice as it slips behind the mountain too. So you got great acidity. I mean, when you taste the wine, I think, you know, one of the markers of Dilemma is this fabulous acidity and stoniness. I mean, it's a great food wine. I'm not going to use the B word because I think we should use the O word, but, you know, it is a lovely Chardonnay.
Can you tell us what the B word and the O word are?
Yeah, well, Burgundy. I'm not calling it Burgundy. I'm calling it Okanagan, but the style is certainly there. And the style's evolved already in a short period of time.
And
it's tight. This wine has more tension. You've tightened it up, and, you know, it's great that it's in that direction.
And we're responding to the changing environment. Each year we get different temperatures, and we have to decide things like the malolactic fermentation.
Yeah.
How much do we do?
Right.
Because with like this last year was cooler. The year before was a lot warmer. We have to adjust our winemaking to really try to get that best balance of acidity.
And I think to your point, the B word that we're always looking for with our Chard and everything else is balance. That's 100% the dartboard that we're aiming for with especially these whites, where we're wanting to make sure not overwhelming these young vines with too much oak treatment and keeping that natural freshness.
If only you could get a little balance in your life, you'd be really, really at it, eh? Instead of working 24/7. But
I'm getting some excellent coaching from Elaine and Sarah.
Yeah.
Yes,
And are you listening, though, Don? Are you listening?
And Don, you were with Vincor. You've been in the wine business for a number of years. Were there any surprises with your own vineyard? Was there something that you learned that you didn't know before you had your own winery?
I think you're learning all the time.
Yes.
I hope that's a process that never stops. Definitely when you commit to the excellence to the highest level, which is what this project is about, you commit to a lot higher understanding of detail. Like, we basically have our vigor map on our vineyard for every 5 vines.
Wow.
And we're trying to adjust nutrient programs, the amount of compost they get, the competition, the water, and everything else to try and really get that uniformity of ripening so that we can get the absolute best quality. Well, that level of detail, I never had the opportunity to pursue it.
Even with children.
And, children, they maybe have applied that detail more to me than the other way around.
We better get to the hypothesis while we still have a couple minutes left. Let's talk about how you're releasing wines now. This is probably a good example about hypothesis and what you've decided to do. There is a lot of demand for the top wines now in BC, and I wouldn't say everyone is allocated, but it's getting that way. How are you dealing with it?
For us, we are excited really to announce an en primeur release for the 2013 hypothesis, which is essentially a pre-release in a limited time in March for our e-commerce and other customers online, where we offer preferential pricing for full case purchases in that limited time frame for a shipping date that'll coincide later in the fall.
When the wine's released.
That's
to
exactly
the public,
right, yeah.
So you're kind of showing the wine off this week in Vancouver, but it won't be released to the public for some time yet.
That's right. Of course, the wine is available in the on-site store at those on-premier prices.
Yeah.
But essentially, we're likening this show to the groundhog poking its head out to see if it wants to sleep or to call the end of winter. Exactly.
Yeah. You're also already quickly famous for visiting at Culmina, and have you tweaked any of that? You started out with appointments and timing, and how does it work now?
Still, have adjusted from our first year where we've adapted that by appointment only to something a little bit more flexible in that our tastings happen at appointed times.
Okay.
We collect people on the patio with a glass of wine, and when the whole table is collected, it'll depart like a ferry.
Yeah.
If it's full or you miss it, you catch the next seating, if you will. And those departures happen at a predictable time, so you can book ahead if you like. So we're still following that model this year. Gives us the opportunity to spend a little bit more time with each of those tables of guests. And, of course, our vineyard and winery tours are by appointment.
And tell us quickly about the spring weekend, which is happening for Victoria Day. And you've got Joy Road Catering, one of the best caterers in BC.
That's right. We're super thrilled to partner with Dana and Cam again from Joy Road for this event, showcasing our new spring release wines in what is sure to be a spectacular dinner in the cellars. We're already halfway sold out of our dinner. We've been selling to our members online. And, of course, we'll be releasing all the rest of the tickets to the public just after the Wine Fest.
And I would just like to say we'd be delighted to have any of you visit us at the winery. Please, if there's any doubt in your schedule, give us a call. We will do our utmost best to have you there and to really prove without a doubt we are the crazy guy up on the hill.
Yeah. Yeah. Take him up to 600 meters?
Yes,
that's right.
Fantastic. Thanks so much for joining us today, Sara and Don Triggs. We had a taste of two delicious wines, the Dilemma 2014 and the Hypothesis 2013, which we can buy at a special price. Do we know that price in March?
In March, it'll be $39.
$39 for 12, and then when it gets released, it's obviously going to be more than $39.
That's correct.
Yeah, so that's the reason you would buy early and then pick it up in the fall. Thanks so much. Have fun this week as the theme country and enjoy the accolades.
And thank you for everything you do for the Canadian and BC wine industry.
You're welcome. You're listening to the Best of Food and Wine. We're live on location. Casey, soon we'll be done for the night. Are we going restaurant hopping?
We are, and you're going to be...
And you've got a long list? Or?
Yes, I do. You're going to be surprised when you hear what it is.
We'll take a quick break, but we'll come back. There's still much more to come from the floor of the 39th Vancouver International Wine Festival on CISL 650's Best of Food and Wine.
This is the Best of Food and Wine Show, broadcasting live from the Vancouver International Wine Festival, where you can enter to win a deluxe 2-night stay at the Painted Boat Resort Spa and Marina on the Sunshine Coast. Visit paintedboat.com.